So we're studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, entitled Karma Yoga, text 9. It's February 16th, 2025, and we're at our Bhakti Yoga Enlightenment program. Okay, and so we'll start with the Sanskrit words responsively. Yagyartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Yagyartat karmano nyatra lokayam karma bandhana tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Yagyartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Yagyartat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara.
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
lokoyam karma bandhana
lokoyam karma bandhana
tadartam karma konteya
tadartam karma konteya
mukta sangha samachara.
mukta sangha samachara.
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
lokoyam karma bandhana
lokoyam karma bandhana
tadartam karma konteya
tadartam karma konteya
mukta sarigat samachara.
mukta sangha samachara.
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
Yagyartat karmano nyatra
lokoyam karma bandhana
lokoyam karma bandhana
konteya
tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Would anyone else like to lead the chanting, either in person or online? Okay, we'll look at the word meanings. Yagyartat,
Yagyartat
only for the sake of Yagya or Vishnu. Karmana, work done. Anyatra, otherwise. Loka, this world. I am, this. Karma bandhana, bondage by work. Tat, him. Artam, for the sake of. Karma, work. Konteya, O son of Kunti. Mukta Sangha, liberated from association. Samachara, do it perfectly. Translation: work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are so made that that purpose can be fulfilled. Yagya means Lord Vishnu, or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yagyo Vai Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yagyas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yagya as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashram institution also aims at this for satisfying Lord Vishnu, Varnashrama Charavata, Pushena Parapuman, Vishnu Rajyate. That's from the Vishnu Purana 3.8.8. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage. For both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu, and while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work, and in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna, or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but will also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. All right, so before we continue our discussion, I'll chant a few more mantras. Mantra means sound vibration that frees the mind from material entanglement. A few more mantras to invoke auspiciousness in our gathering. Om Anjanatimmirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamupakadamayam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Badan Saganalalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sta Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tuyubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyeva Cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, Text 9. Yagyartat Brahmanonyatra Lokayam Karma Bandhana Tadartam Karma Konteya Mukta Sangha Samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Hare Krishna. All right, so thanks for joining us to discuss Bhagavad Gita. In the final line of the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but will also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God. So this culture, philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Vaishnavism, it's monotheistic, one God, and just like like I'm one person and I have many names according to my different relationships with people, right? Some might call me Dr. Wolf, some might call me David. Two people on the planet call me Dad, okay? So different relationships, so we have different names, one person. So one God, one supreme entity with different names. Allah, Adonai, Govinda, Krishna, okay? Rachamim, these are names in Hebrew. And so the goal of existence, or let's just say our original consciousness is to serve God with love and devotion. That's our original consciousness. And we simply do that, and then we're like inconceivably blissful. And we resist that. It's like a GPS, right? So like we go off track and like we get some signal. I don't use GPS. I never used one, but I get the idea, sort of. Okay, so like we kind of go off track, and then we get some signal like no, you need to make a U-turn. You need to make okay, like that. So like we just go off track from serving God with love and devotion, and then Saint Augustine said we are not punished for sin. We're punished by sin. Okay. Now, sin, I'm not meaning that, and I don't sense that St. Augustine was meaning that in the sense of like, you're bad, you're wrong. But sin means like doing or thinking or saying anything that's not aligned with our deepest integrity, that's not aligned with the soul alive to itself. Like if we're acting in enviousness of our own nature and self-sabotaging, so that's sin. So anything that alienates the self from the self and the self from the supreme, that's sin. So as soon as we do that, then we feel shame, alienation, we feel disconnected, and then to use some transformative communication term, all the grudgy stuff, and we feel envy and jealousy like that. And that's like the GPS saying like, no, like you're going the wrong in the sense of like you're sabotaging yourself. You're acting against your own self-interest. Ananda Mayo Vyasat, the nature of the self. When I say the self, I mean the irreducible quanta of consciousness that is inhabiting the body, that soul. Earlier today, we observed ourselves in a text from Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada quotes often. Dihinosmin tadehe kamaram yovanam jara tatadehantara praptir dirastatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from childhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death. The sober, self-realized person is not bewildered by such a change. Okay, so just like we've experienced, we were in a baby body, a toddler body, a teenager body, young adult, and a middle-aged, elderly body. But there's some constant identity. So the self to serve God with love and devotion. And so any genuine spiritual process, religious process, this is the goal. This is the goal. Now, and we discussed this a little bit this morning, there could be other goals to kind of entice us towards that goal. Even like, okay, let's say in Judaism or Christianity, kind of like, be good and go to heaven. What do you do in heaven? You really enjoy, okay? But that's just kind of like a trick to try to get us like to not be like too wicked. Okay, right? But sometimes we'll hear like yeah, okay, so the body changes, but there's some constant identity. That constant identity, that spirit self, that's us. when we talk about who am I, these questions. Yeah, this is yeah. So here we have clear responses to those questions. We don't need to remain vague like that. And so, right. So at the time of death, then we enter another body. So is it just random chance? Not random chance. Yum vapi smran bhavam chajat yante kalevaram tam eveti konte asadatad bhava bhavita. Whatever consciousness we develop in this lifetime, that consciousness will be prevalent when the soul leaves the body, and that consciousness will take us to the next body. The consciousness will take us to the next body. And so that's because you can see, like in the tabloids, reincarnation. It's an actual science, the science of transmigration, the science of what we do with our consciousness and what effect that has. Sometimes we'll hear, I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in transmigration. I just believe you either go to heaven or hell. So essentially I'm saying, like, so what I'm hearing is you do believe in reincarnation, because the idea is this body will die, and then you'll be in heaven. You'll have a body you can enjoy like anything, or you'll have a body in hell where like you'll suffer like anything. Okay, the idea is this body will die, but you continue on. That's it. So it's the same principle in the Vedas. It's just a lot more nuanced. It's just a lot more nuanced. And so, but like let's say, if we look at the teachings of Jesus, like that, and so the his ultimate teaching isn't be good and go to heaven. I mean, it's nice, but his ultimate teaching, and we'll quote the Hebrew that we're certain that this is probably like Jesus's favorite mantra. First, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. This is in Deuteronomy, book 6, chapter 6. Then V'hafta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levcha, with all your heart, b'kol nafshcha b'kol mech. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might. So that's exactly what Bhagavad Gita say. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might. And that's actually much, much purer than I'll go to heaven and I'll enjoy it like anything. Okay, like that. Okay. So that's the ultimate teaching. If we look at the ultimate teaching of Buddha or Islam or the Vedas or Judaism, that's it. And so, all right. So this verse the translation starts with work done. Vishnu is a name for God. Okay, so we just like to get through the terminology. Work done as a sacrifice for Krishna or God has to be performed. I feel like has to be. Oh, it's like a have to. It's like a have to. It has to be performed. But let's unpack that. Okay. So it's kind of like saying sugar has to be sweet. Fire has to be hot. Okay, if you find me, it's just like, because that's its nature. The Sanskrit term is dharma. A lot of these Sanskrit terms over the past 50, 60 years have become well known in the West. Yoga, guru, karma, dharma. So dharma, what dharma actually means, dharma means that which cannot be separated from a thing. So the dharma of sugar is to be sweet. We would not say the dharma of fire is to cook. You can have fire that's not cooking. We would say the dharma of fire is to be hot, can't separate it. So our dharma as spirit souls, the spirit soul inhabiting our dharma is to serve. We're not going to get away from it. We're not going to get away from it. We're going to serve somebody. We're going to serve the nation, the family. We're going to serve some ideology we picked up as a teenager. We're going to serve the belly. We're going to serve the tongue. We're going to serve the genitals. We're going to serve. That's our nature. So just like it's like sugar has to be sweet. It's its nature. So our choice is how to direct that service. How to direct that service. And as we said, quoting St. Augustine earlier, to the extent that we direct in any way other than serving Krishna, Krishna is a name for God, serving Krishna with love and devotion, then we're going to experience pangs of misery and suffering and agony and frustration and emptiness and despair and all that stuff. Okay? But we're going to serve. And so the encouragement here is direct your service to, like, in that place that is most natural. Serve God with love and devotion. So then we're happy and blissful, and then we don't need to play any shadow games. And then the Greek philosopher Epictetus wrote, the essence of all happiness is to live life such that the essence of all philosophy is to live one's life such that one's happiness depends as little as possible on external things. So that's here, right? Because to serve God with love and devotion, it's not dependent on anything external. We can do that at every moment. At every moment, chanting the names of God, Jesus, hallowed be thy name. Actually, in the Old Testament, the temple, it's actually called the temple of the holy name. It's actually in the Hebrew, it's the temple of the holy name. And in Islam, you got the 99 names of Allah. And so there's so many ways we can serve God. And the foundational ways is to hear and chant the names of God. It's described in the Kali Santarana Upanishad, Iti Shoda Shakam Nam Nam Kali Kamashanashanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this particular age called Kali Yuga, this particular mantra, which is composed of three names of God, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Hare indicates the feminine essence of God. This Hare Krishna mantra is especially recommended to purify the heart, cleanse the diamond, and return to our original joyful, blissful consciousness. And so, no matter what tragedy or catastrophe we might imagine, and the ultimate catastrophe will happen, meaning this body is going to die. And it could happen today, or it might happen in 80 years, but the body's going to get smashed and crushed, right? So whatever's happening in health and economics and really, what kind of house do we live in, and whatever's happening in every sphere of life, we get to chant the names of God and be blissful because we're aligned with the original nature of the soul that we are. C.S. Lewis, he wrote, you don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. Okay, so sometimes in some approaches, to spirituality, so some of you are familiar with like our Sattva programs. We go to like different paradigms of life: have, do, be, do, have, be do, have, be do, have, and so have, do, be. It's like mode of Thomas. The principle there is, if I could just have this, the consciousness is densely attached to something extra. If I could just have this, then I'll be happy, joyful, peaceful. But first I need to have that salary. I need to have that person attracted to me. I need to have that respect in that organization. If I could just have that, I'll be free and secure and blissful. But first I need to have that. And until I have that, I'm just a mess. Okay, so that's how to be. Okay, so it's actually a highly effective strategy to have a continual festival of misery. Ongoing, non-stop festivals of misery. Okay, and then right, and then be, do, have is, as a spirit soul servant of God, I am joyful, loving, peaceful, fulfilled. That's who I am. I might be living in a palace and have a multi-billion-dollar empire. I might be living penniless in the forest. but I am this joyful, powerful, abundant person. That's who I am. It's not dependent on anything external. So sometimes we'll hear like, oh yes, yeah, don't be attached. Don't be attached. Just be. Just be. Just be. Yeah, just be. So the thing about just be is that's completely impossible. But other than that, go for it. Go for it. And experience a different variety of festivals of misery, a whole different variety of them. Okay, just be, because here's the thing. No, we'll hear that a lot because everyone our desires have gotten us into trouble, right? And we could all do like packages of therapy sessions about how my desires really led me into so many troubles. But we're not going to go there tonight. But we're just getting the philosophical principle. We're just getting the philosophical principle. So the idea is just get rid of all desires. Just get rid of all desires. Okay. I'm intensely desiring to get rid of. No, you can't do that either. Oh, so I'm desiring to not intend. No, it's hopeless. It's hopeless. It's because the nature of the soul is to generate oceans and oceans of desires. Oh, that's terrible. No, it's terrible as long as we're in have to be. So just like the sugar is going to be sweet, we're going to desire. And we're always going to desire to serve in some direction. Now, to the extent that we're not serving God with love and devotion, the service will do more harm than good. That's a fact. That's a fact. So we're going to desire. So this whole section of Bhagavad Gita is like that. Krishna says that a few verses previously. He goes, whether you're in the enlightened state or the conditioned state, whether you're in the ignorant state or fully self-realized, you're going to serve, you're going to act. So there's be. Sometimes we can think of being and doing as separate. There's being and doing at the same time. So they're distinct and they're also non-different. As soon as there's being, there's doing. There's doing. And sugar will be sweet, fire will be hot. We will do, and that doing will always take the form of service. Our choice is how to direct that service. And this is the science of how to direct that service in such a way that we're actually serving our true self-interest, and we're not acting in envy of our glorious, blissful nature as spirit soul servants of God. And so this is a science. This is the science of how to act in a karma-free life, all aspects of life. Actually, in the direct way, there's about 24 aspects of life directly covered in Bhagavad Gita and what it looks like in ignorance, in passion, in goodness, and in pure devotion. Just like, okay, in chapter 9, well, many places in Bhagavad Gita, including this chapter, talks about food. Food's like big part of life, food. Chapter 9, Krishna says, Pacham pushpam palam tvayam yome bhaktya upashrita tadaham bhakti paritam ashnami prayatatmana. Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion a fruit, a flower, some wood, or a leaf, I'll accept it. So Krishna he's just in that area of eating food, how to act in a way that we're not getting further entangled. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world, whether we're looking at our career, whether we're looking at how we manage money, whether we're looking at how we communicate, how we relate, whether any aspect of life, where we give charity, how we seek knowledge, how we seek happiness, how we relate to food. So Krishna is saying, Tadaham Bhakti Paritam. That, yeah, he's saying, so there's a whole process. It's the prasadam process, that we prepare the food with devotion to offer it to Krishna, and then the eating process itself becomes truly part of our spiritual process, truly part of our. So it's a whole science, karma free. Because something emphasized in the verse and purport here because we can think of like, okay, karma, we talked about dharma, so karma. So karma, like, it says like there's good karma and bad karma. So from the Bhagavad Gita is the source book about all these principles, yoga, karma, dharma. So Bhagavad Gita is saying there's not good karma and bad karma. It's all bad. Very encouraging and optimistic, right? Okay. So you're hearing Krishna consciousness. It's not good and bad. It's all bad. Hare Krishna. Let's see where we go with that. Oh, we got some kind of newer people. This isn't so encouraging. All right. So no, it's actually a very happy, optimistic process. Stay with me. Stay tuned to this channel. Let's see where we go with this. All right. So yeah. Lord, the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita in his teachings to Sanatan Goswami, Dvaita Bhadra Bhajagata Sabo Manodharma. He said there's this conception in the material, there's good and bad. And he said, it's all a mistake, it's all bad. Meaning that whatever is, because we can think, okay, good karma. Okay, so let's say um, um, mm, mm, mm. So let's say we well, I used to use this example when I was in the Middle East in Israel, and I would go to some of the Israelis and I would go, okay, let's say someone has a lot of money and they use the money to build a hospital to heal people. Is that good? Oh yeah, that's good. Let's say that that hospital is in downtown Beirut and they specialize in healing the terrorists to get them back on the job. Is it good? No, it's not good. I thought it was good. It sounds confusing. Okay. Or even, okay, let's say we build a house to build a hospital, okay, and help heal people. So that's good karma. So it might, but then that will mean like, okay, so maybe I'll take birth again in a body that lives an extra 10 years with relatively good health. The body will still be subject to the essential miseries of material life. Janma Mrityu Jarabhyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, birth, death, old age, disease. So even if we incur material good karma, just means we'll get a body with relatively good karma, and we're still in the embarrassing condition of being forced to accept a body that's subject to birth, death, old age, disease. Or let's say we use money to open a hospital, okay? And let's say in that hospital they serve the patients food, and let's say they're serving dead animals, for example. Okay, so it means that we're implicated in that animal dying in agonizing pain. Okay, so what's that mean? What's that mean? It means either later in this life or in a future life. It means I'll be in a body and someone's going to cause pain to it for their enjoyment. That's what we did. That's what we did. This is karma. This is science. This is karma. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita, this whole process by it's not about do good karma. In some sense, good karma is better than bad karma. Okay. But the idea is act in a karma-free way to free ourselves and free others from being trapped from the whole cycle where we're forced to because this is my fossilized karma from the previous 64 years and the lifetimes before that, 2 or 3 trillion and quadrillion of lifetimes. This is the fossilized karma. You may say the proof that I'm not sincere to serve God purely with devotion. This is the proof. I got one of these. This is the proof. Okay. And there's rare exceptions, like someone like Jesus or Srila Prabhupada. They're not forced to take a body. They're choosing to come into the material sphere out of compassion to support persons like us. The examples given, just like so a karma-free life, whether it's our relation with food or relation with work. This verse talking about work. 2 verses from now talks about food. Yagashistas, muchante sarvakilbishai bunante te tukam papa epachat yatmakarana. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is first sacrificed. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Okay, in closing here, so the idea is to be karma free. I just had a conversation about a week ago with someone, and he was talking about, yeah, it was like he's trying to get to spirituality. He's realizing the futility of material life, but then he's influenced by some philosophy and speakers. Yes, so just kind of like to not act. I said, like, it's not going to work. You're going to act, and that action will incur karma. It will incur karma, and then we're trapped again. So the way out, not in a sense of escaping, but the way to participate in the world without incurring karma, the scientific name for that is bhakti. That's bhakti. In every sphere of life, we get to cultivate mastery, learning the science of bhakti, and then we're not incurring karma, and we get to inspire others in that. That's real compassion. That's real care. That's real care. So just like, let's say, like I said, there's the prison house. Okay, we'll close with the prison example. Okay, so and see the whole material world is it is compared. It's called Durga in Sanskrit. Durga means fortress. Durga is managed by a woman. One of her names is Durga. Kali. Kali is another. She's got many names. Kali, and she's a very great devotee of Krishna. A very great devotee, and she has a somewhat thankless task. She needs to manage people like us, and it's described in the Brahma Samhita. Srishti stiti palaya sadhana shaktireka chayeva yasya bhuvanani bibarti durga ichanurupam apiyasya chacheshtate sa Govinda madi pusham tamaham bhajami. So Durga, Kali, she's in charge of the prison department. She's very dear to the king, to the government, just like the warden of the prison is very dear to the king, as is the director of the university system. The warden of the prison needs to deal with the criminals. University director gets to deal with the scholars. So Durga's taken on like a burden on being in service to Krishna. And so just like in a prison, there could be the maximum security. It's like bad karma. But then there's minimum security. Maybe some of you have heard me tell my minimum security prison story. Yeah, okay, right. So I did Bhakti Yoga programs there with Chandrasekhar Prabhu in the early 90s. And so these were like white collar criminals. They were bank managers, state senators, embezzlement and that sort of thing. So they had no barbed wire and they could play tennis, truly, So that's good karma. But the goal isn't like, to be in a minimum security. Let's get out of this prison. So that's bhakti. That's the process of bhakti. And now there could be, let's say the warden or the governor or the president decides to visit the prison out of mercy, compassion. Maybe even he'll be in the exercise yard with the prisoners. Maybe he'll even be in the cafeteria eating, with the prisoners. Now, an ignorant person observing might say, oh, there's the governor. He's a prisoner just like the others. He's a prisoner just like the others. But no, that's ignorance. No, or even another prisoner can say, you're in here like us. No, there's a big difference here. Like if you want to leave, you can't. And because of the karma you created, you murdered people and violated their rights. Now you're here for at least another 20 years. I could leave this moment, and I'm choosing to be here. So that's like, it's an analogy, like personalities like Jesus or Srila Prabhupada. They're choosing to come here, and they're choosing to come here to support us, to like encourage us. Get out of this place. And there's a process to get out of this place. Be a good prisoner. Report to your parole officer, whatever the process is. Here, and Prabhupada says that, one should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna. Right? And so, just like this morning, we had like a 6, 7, 8 hour morning program. Right. So how do we know? Otherwise, I remember this was going back about 16 years ago, and someone came to the Sofitel programs. Um, um, a very devout, born again Christian, like really sincere, like really Jesus in her heart, like that. And and then she came to the self-taught courses, which required some special bravery because like it wasn't her environment, it wasn't her environment. But she just got like there's something here, like, and she got and and I mean I trained her to conduct workshops in her fundamentalist community and like that. It's a different place in Florida, and it's just beautiful person. And then she would stay with Marie Glasheen. She would come and she would like stay overnight for like our morning bhakti program. She would come to our enlightenment program. And and she like she didn't want to practice Krishna con, but what she said directly is kind of like, she wants to follow Jesus and serve Krishna. But she saw we had in Sanskrit term is sadhana. We had a program. We had a program. And so she was so attracted to the program. And she said, because she had her fundamentalist church, but she said, because she could say, we could go 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and we know what to do. Now we'll chant this, and we'll say with kirtan, with names of God. Now we'll discuss this, and now we have a process for the food like that. And she kind of like, she would hear her preacher like, believe in Jesus or go to hell, like that. And she, maybe I'm a little bit mocking the community there, but I'm not mocking her. No, she's so sincere. Like if I had the devotion to Prabhupada she had for Jesus, I'm doing good. But then she developed her own because she didn't have any guidance about what to actually do. Go to church on Sunday and listen to the preacher, but she didn't have any guidance what to do. And then she developed her own. Oh yeah, even here I'm with Rachel a few weeks ago. Like kind of we were sharing and we shared like Jesus was actually chanting Shema Yisrael. That's why he was actually like he wasn't actually speaking English with a southern accent. I mean, I just don't shoot the messenger here. No, he was actually chanting Hebrew and he's chanting these very beautiful prayers. And so like she was just hearing all of that. So, so I'm feeling very deeply grateful to Srila Prabhupada. He's giving us an actual science of spirit. Science means there's a consistent philosophy, hypothesis. That's where science starts. Next pillar of science, a practical experiment, an experiment you can do. Here, the experiment, the laboratory is our consciousness that we do. It's like we engage in an enlightenment, engage in an 8-hour morning program. And it's like our consciousness is transformed and I'm experiencing myself as not the body, spirit, soul with deeper enthusiasm to do this the whole day, to serve God with love and devotion, which is the ultimate goal of all, the ultimate teaching of all genuine spiritual teachers. So we have now I'm not saying Prabhupada's the only way. I am saying for self-realization and to cultivate purity of heart, to rid ourselves of greed, lust, envy, toxic anger, and to cultivate deeper and deeper inspiration to serve God with love and devotion, to follow Srila Prabhupada, it's definitely 100% a bona fide, it works, 100%. Now, but this over here works too. Great, fine, great. Well, to follow Jesus, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. Now, I would say this in my experience. The difficulty can be like, to find someone who's purely representing Jesus. So with no doubt, Srila Prabhupada is purely representing Krishna. So to follow Srila Prabhupada, it's a doubtless and fearless way of success. And as far as about Jesus, Srila Prabhupada said, we accept Jesus as our spiritual master. It's such reverential, humble affection for Jesus. So Our verse today reads, Yagyar tat karmanonya cha loko yam karma bandhana taratam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Just before we open up for comments and questions, the word karma is here 3 times. Okay. So like the bondage of karma. So it's like in this verse, Krishna is wanting us to get like don't avoid that pain, to be trapped in a body and to create more and more karma and more material attachment. So like get free from that. And here's the process. Hare Krishna. Thanks for hearing. I welcome any comments, questions, or realizations. Garuda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Thank you, dear Govinda, for the class today. Yeah, I was really appreciating. It was somewhere around when you started. You were speaking to like these the communication of the navigation.
Yeah.
Analogy that, you know, hey, you're going the wrong way, or, you know, to get to this destination, you know, it's like this idea that, you know, there is communication happening to us all the time.
Yeah.
And are we like situated in the material modes where we can actually receive that communication?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or even know that there is communication happening, like this. Okay, so you have the transcendental knowledge that's giving us, hey, you're being communicated to.
Yeah.
Okay, and then are we situated in a mode, like the mode, you know, we look at the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, the mode of goodness, and we see that like in the mode of goodness, like it situates us in a mode to where we can actually receive the communication.
Yeah.
You know, if we're too busy in the mode of passion, like
yeah.
it's the information's coming at us, we're getting communicated to, but we're just like, we have an agenda, we're like, oh, we have the mode of ignorance, we're too like covered with, you know, to even receive anything too. Yeah, so I'm appreciating that analogy, and even looking at like in my own life when, you know, I gave myself to like this process with the 4 regulated principles.
Yeah.
You know, being a big part of that process, and that like it helps purify my state of being, so that I can receive the communication that's being sent to me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, then Krishna is starting to communicate with. No, Krishna's been communicating to me all along.
Yeah.
And I've just been so covered and preoccupied with, you know, my own desires or my own, you know, understanding of life. So I'm really just appreciating, looking at like, okay, there is communication like being sent to us, and there's signals, and you know, the navigation devices like telling us what to do, and yet we're, you know, maybe not receiving it. And so I guess I want to like, you know, you spoke to like this idea of like greed, envy, lust. Like, okay, if we're experiencing that, then that's an indication that we're going the wrong direction.
It's communication.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of really, I don't know why this is really standing out to me right now, but I feel like I wanted to speak to it, because I'm like, I can relate to it in, you know, just I'll give you an example. You know, I shared with you personally my experience with separating from meat eating, and over the course of time with the combination of the chanting, so that the chanting I feel like is essential for like, you know, it's an essential part of the process to receive the communication as well. Because not just separating, because I was vegetarian before. And I didn't receive any like communication. I wasn't like receiving directly from Krishna, like, okay, this is the guidance that I'm giving with you. So my journey with separating from meat eating with this process, Krishna conscious process,
Accompanied by the chanting.
yeah, exactly, with the chanting, like I started like, okay, so I separated from eating meat, I went a month and then 2 months, and then after 3 months, like, okay, when I would eat meat, I would have these really violent dreams, and I was just like, well, what is this about? Like, I never had this before, I've separated, I was a vegetarian before, I never had violent dreams. And like, it happened like consistently, like I'd go 3 months without eating, I didn't have any violent dreams, I'd eat meat, have another violent dream, and I was like, well, I can't like, there's only one thing I can contribute these violent dreams with is in association with the meat eating. But I'm also looking at like, okay, it was the chanting the Maha Mantra and calling out to Krishna, give me guidance, help me, realign to my original state and serve you in this life, in this body, in combination with the structure, like following the structure.
Yes.
And having that experience, so I'm looking at like, again, that analogy of like, we're being communicated to, and if we are like, we're, there's a certain like, almost like optimal like place that we could, or a way of existing that we could receive that communication like so much clearer and more like just more potently, or we're more aware to like receiving. It's like I don't know, I'm just talking out in my mind like this idea, because I really like it a lot, because even like just the basic, like I'm in a body, like, oh, my knee hurts, oh, I keep doing what I'm doing, well, my knee's still hurting, well, maybe I should do something different, but a lot of people are just like, I'll just keep doing what now I got a broken knee. It's like, without listening to that communication, I'm like, well, my knee's been hurting for like 5 years now, but I didn't listen to it. So just kind of listening to the communication on that basic level of like what's happening in the body, in association or in kind of in light of this idea that we're receiving communication. Are we listening to that communication? Are we even like open and available to receive it? I don't know. I just I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but I'm just appreciating just being with that analogy. I really like it. Yeah.
Thanks for that. I'm glad that analogy resonated. I'm appreciating your sharing, call it rambling or whatever you want to call it. For me, it relates. I'm getting realization. It relates because like in transformative communication, the seminars, the coach training, we use that term like experience your experience, or empathy, cross a bridge, be with someone where they're at. It's not just like some new age thing, feel your feelings. No, I'm getting more realization about that hearing your sharing. Experiencing my experience, someone empathic with me, supports me, say, oh, yeah, I am holding bitterness. Actually, I do have guilt about that, like that. And that's the essence of sattva. Sattva is that state where our consciousness is prepared to receive the communication. We're not blocking it. And that's meant to receive the communication from the GPS. Oh, yeah, I'm out of alignment. I'm going off direction, or yeah, this is very much in integrity. And so, yeah, just feel your feeling spiritual. It's to support us in this process, self-realization, super self-realization towards our deepest bliss of pure, steady love of God. And so just what you're sharing, the GPS analogy, because like empathy, experiencement means I'm sattvically aware of what's happening, especially if it's like, it doesn't look good what's happening. Or Arjuna in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he was aware, even though his feelings and sensations, they were not aligned with his warrior image, but he was aware something's off, and that led to the profound philosophical treatise. It is Bhagavad Gita. So this whole, that sattvic empathy, experience our experience, it's meant to open us to the communication and be aware, okay, what's the message here? And to the extent we're sincere, that will always lead us to our authentic selves in connection with Source. I appreciate your sharing.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, thank you for hearing me. Yeah, just there's one last
Yeah.
thing that I was kind of
Please.
sitting with was yeah, just and it's kind of elusive to me right now. It's yeah, just really looking at, yeah, being more, I guess I'm just like, I'm sitting with being more aware of like what emotions are coming up for me, where is my consciousness, and like, and being more proactive and being in tune with it and paying attention to it. That's, yeah, and because I'm seeing like, yeah, it's all communication. Yeah.
Thank you, Garuda Prabhu. I experience you centered, peaceful, and clear.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. James.
I was really connected to that part of your discussion and the GPS and
Yeah.
whole conversation around integrity and sin and yeah, and then I was connecting to the verse that we were being with earlier, as the soul continuously passes in this body through boyhood, youth, to old age. The soul similarly passes to another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change.
Yeah.
And I was connected with, especially the boyhood into youth, into old age, that integrity changes.
Yeah.
A child's integrity is different from a youth's integrity to a man's integrity. And I feel like my integrity has been changing over the years, and
Yes.
I have been bewildered to such a change.
Yes.
I'm like lost and confused, and I was connecting with that. It was like maybe 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I was really immersed in chanting and reading, listening to a lot of morning programs really regularly, and I heard one who was talking about the spirit of unmotivated, uninterrupted bhakti.
Yeah.
And speaking of communication, like being centered in a mode of goodness, where communication can come through, the communication that was really clear to me was that that's my highest integrity.
Yeah.
That unmotivated, uninterrupted bhakti is my highest integrity. And that just kept sitting with me for like days. It just kept really hitting me. Like it was like a light bulb clarity, almost feeling like I was like peeking into something that was like a gift to actually have that clarity. And I didn't take action to live up to it. And then, but the realization was still there. And so then it's like, even though my lifestyle maybe didn't change, I was sinning left and right. There's so much more sin in my life.
You're acting against your integrity.
Acting against my integrity. And then the past 2 months have been miserable. It's been terrible. And it's because I haven't chosen to live up to that new realization of integrity. And I've been confused and bewildered at the process of death within the stages of life. And so I'm really connected with it. It's like a lot of clarity around that process for myself, and realization of why I've been in so much pain. It's like it's more obvious now. It's like all of my activity became sin overnight, and I didn't make any changes, and then it's just so it became hellish very quickly.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear this. Kind of pierce through the clouds. You're seeing clearly, like Garuda's analogy of the knee. Kind of like, keep doing the same thing, you'll be in more and more misery. And then you're getting here. There's no reason to be, but actually, I've had experience. I've had that realization, similar to what I'm hearing you're sharing over the years and decades. Whether I'm following Bhakti Yoga or not, I always get confirmation of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Meaning, if I'm following in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes that here's what you'll experience. And the peace, the enthusiasm, the inspiration, the joy, the blissful non-attachment. And when I'm not following and I'm acting against my own self, against my integrity, then Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita describe, here's what you'll experience. You'll go in a downward spiral to the shadow and self-deception and fear and insecurity and shame and putting on a mask. It's like whether I follow or not, I'm always getting confirmation, and that truly strengthens my trust year after year. At the same time, the problem with that is when I'm misaligned with my integrity and I'm cheating myself, then the nature of Maya is I'm slipping down the slippery slope and I'm not aware that that's happening. And then kind of I'm more and more entrenched in the fog of illusion, and I'm thinking I'm clear. So that's the risk.
Yeah, it was like in the past 2 months has been very much that for me, slipping down that slope of Maya. And knowing that I was slipping, but not knowing why.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw it's like need to have clarity today. And be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That higher integrity. Something has to change, otherwise everything else is just sinning all of a sudden, and that's a really interesting experience.
Simple actually.
Yeah, simple.
I'm reminded of a text in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, this knowledge lights up everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So just in the past few minutes today, you're immersed in this transcendental knowledge, the light of the light of Bhagavad Gita, and now you have clear what's happening, what's been happening.
Mhm.
Thank you, James. Rosa.
Hare Krishna. Towards the beginning of your talking, you had mentioned, like do good and you go to heaven, and like, oh, that's a nice sentiment.
Yeah.
Right? And my experience was a series of questions that I think I now have some realization about. Towards the end of your talking, you were speaking about the prison, and you said something along the lines of, let's escape from this place.
Yeah.
And the question that appeared to me is, I know those are distinct, but where is the subtlety?
Yeah.
Right? Between the nice sentiment and something of substance.
Yeah.
And like, let's get out of this place. So I was going through a series of questions in my mind where I'm like, it's something about not being attached to the outcome of heaven, or you know, like live a life of misery, but at least I get to go to heaven. The subtlety at first I was thinking is about our relationship and our connection and how we're interacting here and now.
Yeah.
Right. But I continue to be like, it's not quite it. It's not quite it. What is the subtlety? What is, and in your sharing, it led to a lot of thoughts for me about structure. So essence and form.
Yeah.
Something with a nice sentiment is sometimes it's missing both.
Yeah.
There's no essence and there's no form. People don't understand why they're doing something. They're like, oh, this is maybe good. Like, I don't know why. Someone told me to do it. No essence, no form. But someone like the woman that you said had Jesus in her heart.
Yeah.
She had essence.
She had essence.
But she deeply hungered for the form.
She hungered for the form. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. She found, and I'll just say, and I'll say again, yeah. And based on her experience here at our Bhakti Yoga program, she created her own Jesus sadhana form, her own morning program like that, based on the names of God that she just chanted. So I like that, how you're describing it. She had the essence, and then she was lacking form, and then she found it.
And so that's the subtlety, or at least where I'm living right now with it, about the distinction between those things. Like, oh, you did be good, you'll go to heaven, or let's get out of this place. It's not just about that outcome. Yeah. It's about the essence and the form here.
Essence form here. Thanks for sharing, Rosa. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Well, a few things. Yeah. So that this Yeah, go to heaven, that's like the minimum security prison, which is nicer than if you're in maximum security in a straitjacket, but still, it's not real freedom. I often quote the quote, actual freedom is the capacity to commit to our highest good and to not self-sabotage. So the highest good is like, what's the process? What's the process to be released from prison? And by genuinely following a pure devotee of God like Jesus or Srila Prabhupada, that's the process. It's just Rupa Goswami has a verse, Hayasya Harer Dasya Karmana Manasa Gira Nikilas Vapyavastasu Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. Jivan Mukta. Remember Jivan Mukta from your course. Yeah, that's where his name comes from. So Jiva, we're Jiva. Mukta means release from the prison, liberation. Mukta is in this verse too. Mukta Sangha Samachara. And so, yes, and so Rupa Goswami is saying, see, like in this process, this is not a process of just, okay, suffer now, be good, and then you'll enjoy in heaven. We get to experience the bliss, the joy, the ever increasing joy of devotion to God, even within this body. Even within this body, we get to experience that. And it's like even today, like even now, like we're experiencing that. It's not like wait to go to heaven. Now there is austerity involved, just like here we are on a Sunday evening. There's other things we could be watching, just some mundane movie. We could be going to the bar, or we can, there's different things we could do. In the morning, we do the austerity to get up early. There's a text by Rishabhadeva, 5th canto of Bhagavatam. He's speaking to his sons, headed by his son named Bharat, and he says, Naham deho deham bhajam viloke kastan kamam arti vid bhujame tapo divyam puchaka yena sattvam shudya yasmat brahma sokyam trinantam. So Rishabhadeva is saying to his sons, don't settle for the quality of enjoyment that's available. He's to the stool eaters. He says to the pigs, the dogs. Nothing against pigs, just like sugar. Sugar is sweet. It's being sugar perfectly, and a pig is being a pig perfectly. But for spiritual beings in human form to act like pigs and dogs, that's a violation of our integrity. So he's saying, like, don't do that. No, human life is especially meant for tapo divyam. Divyam means divine. Even the name David comes from divine. Right. And so Deva, tapo means austerity, means to voluntarily engage in divine austerity, voluntarily give up immediate enjoyment for that bliss, that pleasure that won't have a beginning and an end, and will be ever increasing. And that so to give up the immediate titillation and gratification of the senses to engage in bhakti and get that higher taste that we're really hankering for. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Rosa, for your question. Hare Krishna.
There's someone in the chat.
Yeah, chat. Okay, I'm going to read the chat. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Okay, so, okay. Jeremy. Yes, Jeremy.
So before this, hello everyone, my name is Jeremy. If you don't know who I am, I just want to introduce myself. Aloha. I'm new to this, but I can relate some of I've had surgery, so it was like a struggle for me. And because before I was working and just doing odd jobs and doing everything. And then when I had the surgery, I had the realization that I had to just be patient. And there were signals that were sent to me to just be patient and let the process just take. So I had to have some realization to be patient with the process. So now it's made me change my patterns and my whole lifestyle to new ways of respecting and understanding my body more. So I want to just say thank you for letting me join, and I look forward to doing more so I can understand my body a little bit better.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for your sharing. And I'm deeply glad that you've joined us, and I appreciate your sharing. I hear, this recent juncture of life, you're getting a lot of GPS messages, and you're hearing them, and you're shifting, and you're open to new paradigms in relation to life, purpose, and to relation with your body. I appreciate what I experienced, Jeremy, as your childlike spirit of wonder and discovery. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Sarasvati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Desha Tarine. For the next part of our program, before Prashad, Vidura Mahatma Prabhu, would you be agreeable to lead Kirtan?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sydney, Damayanti, Rukmini, and Jeremy. Vidura will lead us in Kirtan.